In a move that was somewhat of a surprise to me, the Sundered Closed Beta happened out of nowhere. Sundered is a game I played the alpha of back in January, I believe, end of January, and really enjoyed it. It's a Metroidvania along the lines of any Metroidvania you've ever played. Heavy on the combat and exploration here. It is large expanses that you are exploring in here. They've updated the map system that makes a lot more sense, and you're going on a journey. This isn't, oh, I need to go from point A to point B. Like, you really need to go to point B. Point B is way over there, and there's 500 enemies in the way. Big emphasis on combat. The combat plays kind of like, I was streaming this on Twitch, and someone said it was like Subspace Emissary in Smash, and I could kind of see that. It does control a little bit like Smash Bros, where you have an in-air up attack, an in-air down attack, an in-air side attack. You know, you have these different moves that you can use in different ways to fight the enemies, and you need to use them. You need to dodge, you need to attack. It's not a super easy game. It has that roguelike tendency as well, where you'll be killing enemies and gathering these bits, and then when you die, you go back to a skill tree, and you can upgrade with those little bits your abilities. Anything from like, oh, I need more health, to more damage, to now my regenerating shield increases its size, which is another thing. The game has a regenerating shield like Halo 1. Like, you have your own health bar, and then you have a thing on top of it that's the shield. It's such a... I don't think that's like super original, but for a game like this, it's not something I've seen before, where it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. That's what I liked about the Halo health system. It's the best of both worlds of the auto regen health and a health bar. Like, you still have to focus and pay attention. Your health will go back up, or your shield will go back up, but your health won't. And it has that here, and it also mixes it up with things like perks. I only got 2 perks. I played the closed beta for about 4 hours. I only got 2 perks. I don't even remember what the second one was, gathering bits better. But the first one was my shield would auto regen. It wouldn't have a delay to regen, but it would regen slower. And so each of these perks kind of has their own positive and negative effect to it. And there's a bunch of abilities you get in the world where it's like, oh, I got double jump. Now I can dodge, I can double jump, I can shoot a little laser cannon thing. And also these abilities by fighting, or I think it's fighting 3 mini bosses and then collecting these shards from them, you go back to an ability room and it augments an ability. So the one I got augmented my shield, right? So I got the shield, and that's great. And then when I augmented it, it morphed the ability to something that can sometimes hit the enemy's back, reflect damage back on them. And that's really interesting, and I think it does a lot of good stuff with that, including when you get like the skill tree. I don't know if we'll get to it in the gameplay, but the perk tree, or whatever we want to call it, each ability you get unlocks a branch of that whole tree. So you might not have anything to level up until you find a new ability, and then now you're upgrading down that new tree. I think that's super interesting. None of the abilities in there are kind of the abilities in that tree that'll be unlocked from finding an ability. A circular sentence. They don't necessarily go back to that shield exclusively. They kind of have, oh, this is health, this is damage. These are the things that are in all of the skill trees, regardless of ability. But there are a few things that just kind of increase all abilities. It's kind of weird to explain without looking at that stupid tree. But I think the game's a lot of fun. It's constantly giving you new enemies, or just this variety. Like, because it's procedurally generated, the journey to where you need to go is going to be different every single time, and it can be vastly different. You can get screwed over like I do here, where there's a bunch of guys attacking me. They all have different abilities. I got lasers coming from all sides, and I can't, like, I just start running because it's crazy. And that's where the procedural generation kind of gets in the way, in my opinion, a little bit. Sometimes it can be much more difficult to get to this objective than it is another time, right? Like, much different, much more difficult. And then you'll try again, and it'll be way easy. And you're like, well, what the hell happened? Or sometimes the rooms, like, you look up the map, you can see there's a larger square. Or you can't really see it because all my garbage is in the way. Anyway, so there's a larger square, right? And then within the square, you're kind of exploring. So you know there's rooms that'll fill out this square, right? And sometimes it will fill out the rooms to where, oh, I just need to go one to the right, and then that's where I need to go. And then other times it's like, oh, now I need to go and make 6 rooms in this circular journey to get to where I need to go, making something that was a 2-minute walk into a 6-minute like slaughter fest because you're fighting all these things along the way. And that can become annoying. It needs, I think, a fast travel system. This is the perk tree, skill tree. It needs a fast travel system to get to some of these unlockable nodes, because getting to them is just so tedious going back there time and time again. To go back off that for a second, this is the skill tree. There are things, health, luck, armor, and then there are other nodes that are just like, oh, this increases your shield by 30% or something. They're just like larger passive. They're all, I think the vast majority of that is all passive stuff. The only active stuff are the abilities themselves and the augments you get by collecting those little 3 shards. This is, you can kind of see the map here. It's a big ass map. I didn't beat this beta. I don't actually know where I needed to go. That's neither here nor there. But it is a lot of fun. It is a really good game. It's coming out this summer in like a month or 2-ish, I think. No release date officially. I think they said June. I think that's what their target is. And it has improved from the alpha. Particularly the movement system to me felt tighter. It felt a little loose and kind of slippery before. Not in like a super bad way, but now it's definitely better. It's just straight up better. It's a lot of fun to play and dodge around. It's very fast and frenetic. Let's just use words. In a really good way. I think that it works super well. You're almost constantly fighting things, which can be annoying, but the loop of like fighting stuff, getting points, and going back and leveling it up is gives you very tangible results where, oh, I started the game and I'm not doing a lot of damage, but I just got to the skill tree where I can upgrade my damage, and I upgraded it 2 levels, and now I'm doing 50% more damage. And you'll start going, even in this beta, like 2 hours later, you'll go back through an area you already went into, and you'll just be wrecking shop because of how much you've leveled up. And it is a nice feeling of progression with all that. So it kind of has the best of all these recent games we've been getting, well, semi-recent, like with Rogue Legacy or with Spelunky and all those indie procedurally generated games, but in this Metroidvania style that feels very like, Rogue Legacy is a Metroidvania, but it's a pretty light combat system. This is not a light combat system. This is a full-fledged, I'm fighting a war, I can air juggle guys, there's a down a smash move essentially. Like, it's got a lot more going on to its combat than a lot of other games like this. Specifically with the abilities that you get along the way. I haven't even gotten them all in the beta. I got them all in the alpha, and they run one of them has a double jump, so whatever. But this one added actually some interesting things in the environment where like this whole area is unpowered, and you had to get to the node to power the sector. And then once it was powered, these lifts activated, doors activated that you couldn't get through before, and it added another layer to the exploration that wasn't just finding a mini boss and that was the next checkpoint of sorts. It added a thing of like, oh, I didn't get to the boss or I didn't get anything, but I at least activated the generator. And now I don't have to do that. I can go back to that area and get to this door that stopped me before. And it does a good job. Even with the procedural generation, there are choke points, I guess we'll call them, where like this is where a shortcut is. Like this is where a shortcut is. And as long as you get there and open it up, you have that shortcut. And it does a really nice job of having those shortcuts, which is crucial. I just wish you could fast travel. Not to all of them, maybe to some of them. Like, because it's just tedious to walk to some of these places. Especially when you start getting attacked by 17 Laser Man and the giant Beetleborgs and these little electric squidbillies. It's a little much sometimes, but still a lot of fun. And I think when it comes out, I hope it kind of takes people by surprise and people start talking about it, because not a lot of people are. I forget the game that they made before this, but it was a game you've probably heard of, but it's not a very huge game. It was a Viking themed, has a Viking themed name too. It's not a different game, and it looks similar-ish, but it doesn't play similar at all. Anyway, that's Sundered. I really enjoy it. Fun time, good action. That's good enough for me. I question how long this game's gonna be, because at this point I've spent probably 7 hours between the alpha and the beta, and I don't know, like, does it just restart each level and now I level up again with the perks and the skill tree? I don't know, but kind of an infinite Metroidvania in a sense. It's very compelling to me. Very, very compelling. There's too many lasers though. I think they need to tone down the lasers. Just, there's a lot. There's a treasure chest if you're running. Too many lasers. Oh, that's something I should mention. The laser is red when it's safe and charging, and green when it's dangerous. That doesn't make sense, okay? I don't know if that's a color blindness thing. I don't know if that's even opposite of what people that are colorblind would want. I don't care. It makes no sense. Green is not a dangerous color. Like, full stop. It's not a dangerous color. So, fix that. If you could fix one thing, fix that.